Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. It is Monday night, June the 4th, 2018, and Monday Night Raw seems to be getting worse and worse by the week, and it is time to bring the hammer down on the whole entire situation right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean, baby. The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it. Click.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is the world's greatest tag team, Thor, the wrestling god of thunder, the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and my little buddy, my most trusted companion, and the world heavyweight champion of microphones, Blue the Snowball. Thank you guys for checking out the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's official Monday Night Raw review tonight. And it was not good. No, it was not. Tonight is a continuation of the same old song and dance that we give to you guys each and every single week. So in order to make things different, sometimes the universe offers you an opportunity. And tonight, we had the Constable of Raw appointed to us. Constable Corbin was named tonight, and we are very honored to have Constable Corbin on the show tonight. Constable, please join us. Hello. How are you, Constable?
Hello, everybody. How you doing out there? I'm Constable Corbin, the real Constable Corbin, not this Baron guy. I'm the official Corbin of Monday Night Raw, Constable Corbin, whatever you want to call me. All I know is Raw was awful. Instead of appointing Baron Corbin, the constable, which was already filled by me, they should have made him a fireman so he could put out this dumpster fire that was Monday Night Raw. Whoa, Constable, take it easy. I don't know if it was that bad. What are you talking about? It was the worst thing I ever seen. Instead of making him the constable, they should have made him a paramedic so that he could resuscitate this show back to life, you know what I mean? Oh, Constable, come on, take it easy. I brought you on here to be a nice, addition to the show, something different to lighten things up, because tonight's show was so bad. Don't tell me something I don't already know. Tonight's show was so bad. Look at Nia Jax. Like, is she good? Is she bad? These guys don't know what they're doing. With Nia Jax, with Ronda Rousey, everything's a fucking joke over there. Whoa, easy. Easy. I know I drop a few F-bombs from time to time, but let's calm down. Listen, there's no reason to calm down. Did you watch the show tonight? I did. Did you watch the show tonight? I did. Are you telling me it was good? No, it was probably about as good as my ventriloquist skills. Oh, listen, don't bust your own balls. All you need to know is tonight's show sucked ass. As usual, something we've come to expect as fans of Monday Night Raw. And don't even get me started on the Special Olympics. Hey, ho. That's where I draw the line, Constable. But they're ruining Finn Balor. We're not going to talk about it. I got it in notes right here. It's clearly underlined. Do not talk about it. Do not say anything about that. We love the Special Olympics and everything that it does, even though it detracts from the show, like all these special interest things that they do. We will not get down on the Special Olympics. Okay, I'll give you that. But this show was balls. Alright, that's enough out of you, Constable Corbin. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, this is not Baron Corbin. No, it isn't. I'm the official Constable Corbin. Thank you for having me. Thank you, I guess. And we'll see you later. That
was Constable Corbin. You guys, I don't know what the hell was wrong with him. Why he was so, so salty. Maybe it's because tonight's show was really everything that he kind of said. It was a dumpster fire that needed to be extinguished very quickly. We keep seeing the same fucking show every week, you guys. Complete with a 6-person tag, a 20-minute long, boring, trashly segment that nobody gives 2 shits about, and the rest is pretty much silence. I say that all the time because it's a quote that I love from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer film. But that's what it felt like. I felt like I was watching silence all night. If you could visibly see silence, that was Monday Night Raw tonight. Even the main event. You have 2 primetime talents like Kevin Owens and Finn Balor at a main event, and I didn't give a shit. I really didn't give a shit. Was it Monday Night Raw's fault for being 2.5 hours of absolute head-banging nonsense? And not head-banging in a good way, like when you're rocking out to some Static X. That's a little dated, that's a little 90s, but that's what I've been listening to lately, so it's on my head right now. Maybe some 5-Finger Death Punch. Something good, a little Metallica, some classic stuff. That's good headbanging, not what I was doing tonight. I had Thor with me, I would have bashed my own brains in. Good thing I left him in the studio while I was watching the show outside. What the fuck are we watching? What kind of a build towards Money in the Bank is this? This is nothing. This is everything I told you we were going to see. Just random one-on-ones. Now next week we're going to have a fatal 4-way with the 4 participants of Monday Night Raw. It's all the same match. It's the same match over and over. Instead of allowing us to enjoy a build, you had 8 spots to fill. You had 6 weeks to do it, and you had it all done by week 3. And now you're giving us 4 weeks of bullshit. 4 weeks of filler. Because your creative department is so inept that they want to give us tacos. I'm surprised the constable didn't bring that up. Perhaps he forgot. Maybe we'll ask him his thoughts on that next week. Because I'm sure he'll have something to say when Constable Corbin wants to show up and ruin this show all night long like he did tonight. Why are we appointing people as temporary police officers on Monday Night Raw in Stephanie McMahon's stead? What is that? Why are we giving Baron Corbin authority? Making him have any say over anything that Kurt Angle does, just based off of the assumption that Stephanie McMahon is okay with Baron Corbin's decision-making? And what the hell does she give 2 shits about Baron Corbin all of a sudden? Stephanie McMahon and Baron Corbin, have they even been on camera together? That she's putting her faith in him to be her enforcer on Monday Night Raw. How does that make sense? None of this makes sense. It actually makes me hate Baron Corbin even more. Way too much of him tonight in his initial outing as the constable. They needed to use a fancy word for police officer because they couldn't think of a legitimate title to give a random wrestler that really has no authority. But they're going to play it for what it is. They're going to use an unnecessary 6-woman tag team matchup that we had tonight, which it was all full of its own problems, and we'll get to that in a second. But I want you guys to realize that that match was only booked in the way it was booked to further this Constable Baron Corbin story. There was no reason for that match to finish the way it did, with the controversy that happened, if not to have Baron Corbin have something to say over Kurt Angle. And then you want to come back to him again and show him berating a referee. This is a wrestler berating a referee in the back as if he has legitimate authority. I'm supposed to just accept this? I'm supposed to be okay with this because Stephanie McMahon said so? Kurt Angle's still looking like an inept chimp, sitting on a couch picking his nose, answering cell phones, getting notes sent to him? What are we watching? I would have much rather have watched people in the crowd eat tacos. As fucking ridiculous as that whole segment was, you realize somebody wrote that tonight, right? We said, oh, we're going to take Kurt Hawkins, a star that nobody wants to see, who has this unbelievably stupid defeated streak, this losing streak that's apparently at 200 now. I would have stopped at 100. If you can't win in your first 100 tries, go hang it up and do something else. because it's not getting you over even in that matter. It doesn't work. Nobody gave a shit. And then you want to have some jobber come out and you want to name him James Harden. He's clearly not the James Harden that you all know. It was not the Houston Rockets shooting guard. It was some stupid little white guy who couldn't look further from opposite of what the actual James Harden is. Whether that's some sort of an internal joke amongst the WWE creative that they thought it would be funny to do this, it wasn't. It was fucking ridiculous. And then you have Kurt Hawkins, a guy that's, like I said, nothing to the fans already, and you have him come so close to getting his first win and getting an entire arena of people some free tacos, and you have Baron Corbin come out and ruin it for no apparent reason, and then we get the Constable explanation after the fact. Somebody wrote that segment. And worse than that, somebody said, yep, check that one off. We're gonna offer free tacos, and we're gonna have Kurt Hawkins lose his 200th match, and it's gonna lead us to this whole Officer Corbin thing, and everything will be fantastic. The fans will jump right on it. Are you smoking crack again in the creative office? Because that's what it seems like with the shit we got thrown at us tonight. Holy cow. Tacos? That's the best you got? Baron Corbin as a police officer? That's the best you got? And then you want to take it one step further. And last week I was very appreciative to not have seen Roman Reigns, so much so that we didn't even mention the fact that Roman was on the show on this show. He wasn't on the show. We didn't want to give him any sort of spotlight because we were happy to not see him. Only to have to see him a little bit too much tonight. And Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal, the one match that nobody gives a shit about, the one match nobody wants to see, the one match that might actually backfire in the biggest way on the WWE when they enter Chicago for Money in the Bank, and they run the real risk of Jinder Mahal actually being cheered opposite Roman Reigns, doing a lot more damage than good. This match tonight was pretty much the only match with any build. Too much build. You wanted to sacrifice an angle that everybody's interested in. You got Seth Rollins, the Intercontinental Champion, doing things on Monday Night Raw on a consistent basis that are deserving of that Intercontinental Championship title. You got Elias, who's just been kind of floating around and is now in a decent spot and is going to be challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. And knowing that that match has momentum, knowing that that has your pretty much A star on Monday Night Raw right now in Seth Rollins, you want to piggyback their momentum and throw it onto Roman and Jinder by having them interrupt what was actually a pretty good opening segment up until Jinder Mahal came out and ruined it. And then followed by Roman Reigns to ruin it even further. And then you want to have Kurt Angle ruin it even further by doing the predictable, obvious thing and make the fucking tag match between these four guys. Thankfully, the only positive we could take out of that is that he didn't make it the main event. Thank God we didn't have to wait all night. It started the show. It was over and done with. It was too long as it was. Nobody gave a shit. I certainly didn't. And that was a terrible way to be booking this feud for the Intercontinental Championship. All you did was try to gain momentum for the other feud. The way Michael Cole and these idiots on the table, they talk about this match as if it's this earth-shattering confrontation between two legends. And they're out of their fucking mind. This is the one match nobody wants to see. This is the bathroom break of Money in the Bank, even over the women's matches. And those matches aren't looking good at all. I have no interest in anything going on in the women's division right now. We'll get to that in a second, because I want to continue talking about this Intercontinental Championship. I don't know why they abandoned the Open Challenge. I think that was the best thing they could have done. I told you guys it was going to be maybe 1-2 weeks if we're lucky. They threw it away really fast, and they lost the opportunity to really build an angle and really build something for two competitors leading towards Money in the Bank in the Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins versus Elias could have taken on a whole nother life if Seth Rollins continued to week after week defend his championship, being the fighting champion that he wanted to be, and build himself up, gaining wins, gaining momentum towards his big title defense against Elias at Money in the Bank. Conversely, you have Elias week after week beating people's ass. So that you have these two guys on red-hot winning streaks, both on a collision course for Money in the Bank over one of the richest prizes in the game, and that's how you build matches. You don't do it by having Elias pinning the Intercontinental Champion in a bullshit random tag team match that shouldn't even be happening in the first place. That's how you're gaining momentum for Elias? He should just be laying waste to all these people that are sitting in the back waiting for their tacos to come to the catering room because they have nothing else to do tonight. Then you want to throw us this Battle Royal. Now, last week I told you guys this Battle Royal was most likely going to be won by the B team. It was going to be a vehicle to push them into a championship opportunity that they do not deserve, nor do they need to be getting right now. I actually enjoyed the formation of the B team. I'm going to come clean and say I like their theme song. I like their stupid marker t-shirts. I think it's a great gimmick. It's something that'll set them apart, and I think that if it was handled more carefully, it would actually be something that has a long shelf life. But by automatically giving them, after 3 wins, a championship title match by way of this Battle Royal over other teams that were in this match, like the Revival, like the Ascension, like Ziggler and McIntyre, legitimate tag teams that you would have wanted to see face Hardy and Wyatt at Money in the Bank for the tag titles, you gave it to the B team. I did not expect McIntyre and Ziggler to be in this thing. I think that's my biggest disappointment. However, I do think of things logically, like we say all the time. I do bring down the truth. And the truth is, as much as I love this dynamic with this new duo of McIntyre and Ziggler, it's really not the right time for them to be winning or going for it either. They need to build up a little bit more steam. They are a hot hand right now, but they need to get red hot. They need to get fiery hot. And they're almost there. They're almost there. And I actually liked what they did with them. The fact that they were eliminated very early and then took offense to the fact that they were eliminated and then absolutely went in there and decimated each of the other tag teams in there clearly proves a message that they are one of the more dominant teams in the division, even though somebody just happened to luckily get Dolph Ziggler out of the match. So I was upset that these caliber of teams were not being looked at as world title contenders, and that it was just immediately given to the B team, where I think there was a bigger story to tell by them losing this Battle Royal, because Battle Royals don't really count in your official win-loss record, and they could have still maintained that they are undefeated because they only lost in a Battle Royal, which doesn't really count as a loss. And they could have kept going and build it up until you get them to that point where people really care and want to see them achieve that dream. Right now, who gives a shit? Sure, it's starting to tingle. You can hear a little bit of the people behind them. Just a little bit. Just like I am. I'm there with them. I'm not for them getting a tag team title shot. And this Battle Royal was nothing special to even talk about. And I'm going to breach the subject that the Constable brought up at the beginning of this show. Nia Jax is an absolute mess. Not only because of that ridiculous blonde she chose for her hair that makes her look absolutely terrible. Nia Jax is a beautiful, beautiful Samoan queen. And she looked fantastic the way she was. What made her want to become just another blonde on the roster, I will never know. And it doesn't set her apart. If anything, it makes her fade away. And I hate how she looks. I also hate how she's booked. Because one week we see her as a bully, picking on some girl, taunting her, torturing her, acting like a heel for the first time that we've ever seen. Because before this, she's just been all anti-bully. She was standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves and be proud of your body and all this nonsense that was coming off as cringe TV. And then she does a complete 360, and now she was a villain, picking on the girl, and now she goes 360 again. She has a match with Natty tonight. Natty, I'm not sure whether or not it's legit. I'm going to go on record right now saying that it's not, and that they played this for a storyline because this did extend later on into the night. But at the moment that it happened, I was not sure whether this was real or not. Credit to Natty for making me believe if it was not in fact true. But Natty seemed to have blown out her knee. And now all of a sudden Nia Jax, who's in there wrestling her for the championship, who's got a point to prove against Ronda Rousey and wants to show her that she can't beat her and is trying to be all intimidating, is all scared or like shy and worried and upset and caring about Natalya's well-being. Why? Why would she give a shit about Natalya's well-being? And then you have this real awkward ending where Nia's like kind of biffing her, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's kneeling in the ring next to the fallen Natalya. And Nia Jax is just over, kind of like bumping her with her belly. And then like tapping her in the head, but never really mushing her. And then Ronda's like getting up in her face and then going back down to Natty. And Nia's just walking around like, I don't know, what do I do? She looked like a buffoon. And then the girls exit the ring. Natty's being helped out by the ref and Ronda, and nothing happened. If Natalya was not legitimately injured, and this was all written out, and it played out on screen as it did, then this was awful. Because at some point, something needed to happen. You can't have that brief encounter between Nia and Ronda do nothing. Somebody should have slapped somebody. There was no intensity. It just fell completely flat. These girls looked awful. At least Ronda's hair was better than last week. That's the one thing that was better than last week. Everything else is just about the same. Just about the fucking same. The show was an absolute mess. Houston was half asleep through half of this show. Where were you, Houston? Were you actually looking for the real James Harden? All I saw was fans on their cell phones all night. If you go back and rewatch the show, which I don't recommend, but if you want to go just to watch the crowd, especially during boring Trashly segment with Sami Zayn, you will see people on their phones. You spend hundreds of dollars to be ringside and to be in the lower levels around the ring at a Monday Night Raw in Houston, Texas, to be on your phone. Is it their fault that they're on their phone? No. It's the WWE's fault, obviously, for not making a show worthy enough to pull viewers' eyes away from their phone and actually to what's going on in the ring. They were more interested in what people were saying about the garbage they were watching live in Houston, Texas. Maybe they were all worried about getting some barbecue. Maybe after they failed to get their tacos, they all just checked out and didn't want to fucking see the rest of the show because they were too interested and they were too disappointed about not getting their tacos. But Houston was almost non-existent tonight for the entirety of the show, and that upsets me. Because I don't understand why you would spend your hard-earned money, you bust your ass at your job, you bought that ticket, you were all excited to go tonight, and then you sat there on your phone. What's wrong with you fans? Pay attention. Get off your fucking mobile devices, youngins. Use your eyeballs on what's actually happening. Stop seeing things through a screen. And instead of sitting there watching the show, why don't you actually use the phone and tweet to the WWE, hey, we're in Houston. We're in the live audience. Your show fucking sucks. I want my money back. You know, do something useful. Start a movement. Do something. Voice your displeasure. If you're sitting there bored to tears on your phone, instead of checking out what mom's putting up for dinner that you're missing tonight, or whatever pictures you want to fucking look at, voice your displeasure, be a fan. It works. Worked for Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's waiting online at Wendy's. He wasn't getting what he wanted. He fucking tweeted Wendy's and they're tweeting him back, hey, don't flip my fucking Wendy's over. We're going to get you what you need. Your voice is a powerful thing. Use it. Use it in the right way. Tell them, I'm in the audience, and this sucks. What's wrong with you guys? If you're going to be on your phone, you could at least do that. Do it for me. Tell them Nick Nightmare says so. Courtesy of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's talk about the rest of this fucking ridiculous show. Like I said, I enjoyed the opening with Elias and his song, The Man Has Fallen Down. It was absolutely great opening segment, ruined by Mahal and Roman Reigns, turned into a tag team match, all for nothing. Elias hits the drift away on the Intercontinental Champion, and off we go. Off we go. And while we're on this again, I don't understand why they did this if Roman and Jinder already had a segment scheduled for later in the night. If they were going to do that back and forth shit that only ended up to Roman, I'm going to find you wherever you is. And then he found Jinder and we had this brawl after they did some back and forth via camera. If that was their segment, why did you have to put them in the Intercontinental Championship feud? Please. How many more fucking problems can we bring the hammer down on? If you guys are keeping count, let me know in the comments below. How many that I've already pointed out, how many maybe I've missed, you're always welcome to that comment section down below. Kurt Hawkins versus James Harden. Not the Rockets god. Some pathetic guy. Tacos for everyone? No. Sorry. The Constable says no. Constable Corbin fucked up everything for everybody in Houston, and that was that. We had Ronda Rousey on commentary during one of the most awkward and piss-poor matchups that I have seen Nia Jax have. And being that most of her matches have been that way, that's a pretty bold statement. And but, you know, listen, I am not trying to disrespect Nia Jax. It is not her fault, much like her cousin, Roman, that they have booked her in this way. They have made her completely uninteresting. They have made her unbelievable. And whatever made her dye her hair made it even worse. Just my personal opinion, which I am entitled to. Don't at me. Absolute garbage. Very awkward ending. Is Natty injured? Is she not legit injured? Is she going to be in this fatal four-way next week? Is she going to make it to Money in the Bank? These are the questions that are going to kill us until... No, we're not really going to give a shit. Because we don't, right? You don't really give a damn. We all know where this is headed. To nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Just like Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode is still heading nowhere. There's no sign of frustration on his face. This is a fucking hit and repeat over and over on this show. We say the same things constantly. That is starting to drive me insane. I'm watching Raw week after week expecting something different, but we get the same result. That is the definition of insanity, so it's making me feel that way. How can they not see it? It's written on the wall. You had babyface Bobby Roode against babyface Braun Strowman. I can't help but believe that if Bobby Roode was an evil bastard, the way he's supposed to be, this match would have had a completely different life. This match would have worked, and it would have felt good. But it didn't. It felt like just a random match. Just to promote the Money in the Bank, two of its competitors going one-on-one again, with nothing really special happening, as I almost dropped Thor there, but I have good reflexes, so I caught him. But I am not as strong as Braun Strowman, because that was the only thing to take away from that match, was Braun Strowman breaking a ladder in half with his bare hands. Fantastic. Great, you scared the shit out of Bobby Roode, and you power slammed him for the pin. Bobby Roode, when was the last time he's won a match? Michael Cole wants to sit there and say he's been fantastic since he's come to Raw during the brand split. What's wrong with this potato head? Does he really have spuds for brains? I know it, you know, when you're doing commentary, sometimes you could have a slip of the tongue. It happens to us very often here on this show. It's not easy to do broadcasting, so I forgive a lot of his flubs. But when you're blatantly lying to me, telling me Bobby Roode's glorious run on Raw, what fucking glorious run? He should be gloriously running to Impact Wrestling, where they understood how to use Bobby Roode. Or gloriously run his ass back to NXT until Triple H takes over up top. He doesn't have much time left. He's not a spring chicken. I don't know where they're going with Bobby Roode. When this heel turn comes, by the time it comes, I don't think it'll even be able to fix him. He will be beyond repair. if they keep going down this path. It's just another fucking wrestler in a robe. Another wrestler that's all theme music. The guy can wrestle. It's not about his ability. It's about the WWE's inability to recognize what roles their talent truly belong in and executing them to its best ability. Case in point, Roman Reigns, and it's happening again and again. It's happening with Bobby Roode. It's happening with Bobby Lashley. Not that I would have given a shit about Lashley if he came in as a heel, but I think it might be a little bit more interesting. He was able to garner some sort of a fan base in Impact Wrestling when he decided to be the cocky, arrogant Bobby Lashley. I didn't care for it even then. I probably wouldn't care for it now, but it's got to be better than this bullshit that we've been getting. And it's all due to their inability to recognize what makes their superstar. They don't get it anymore. They just don't. It's lost. And until it's found, we are going to be left in this fucking circling toilet drain that we're in every single Monday and Tuesday as we wait for this show to get better. And we wait for a return to normalcy in pro wrestling, but it just won't come. We had a great promo by Kevin Owens to try to promote the main event match tonight. He wants to tell Finn Balor, oh, Finn Balor's all talk. He wants to talk about being too sweet, right? What does that even mean, he says. I thought this was fucking great. He says, was it too sweet when he lost the Universal Championship to be a failure with the Universal title? Was that too sweet? Was it too sweet to lose to Braun Strowman last week? Finn Balor is nothing more than an Irish legend, or what did he say? I have it written here. An Irish myth. And he was going to prove it tonight on Monday Night Raw. I loved the promo. Kevin Owens is magic on the mic. But the match, I don't know. We'll talk about it a little more in a minute. We had a follow-up segment with Natalya sitting in the back. Her knees all fucked up. You got Nia Jax once again being all concerned. And, oh, she's my friend. And blah, blah, blah. And Ronda Rousey's like, get out. She's my friend. And then Nia's like, forget you both. I'm out. And did you care? I know Constable Corbin didn't give a shit. I certainly didn't. Absolutely horrible. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt come out to do an in-ring promo. The only thing we learned from this promo is that Bray Wyatt's kind of got his chops back a little bit on the microphone. And that Renee Young is woken. Fucking fantastic. Great for Renee Young. I wish I was woken. Maybe I wouldn't be so bothered by the bullshit. We have a fucking tag team battle royal tonight. They want to tell the world that Renee Young is fucking woken and it's wonderful. Was it fucking wonderful? It's about as wonderful as Bobby Roode. Which is not, if you were wondering. Not wonderful. Not glorious. The tag team battle royal we talked about. We had Ziggler and McIntyre the first team out. Then they laid waste to everybody. I wasn't really feeling that too much, but we did come to our senses and understood why they might have made that move, and I will be okay with that. After that, when we had the Ascension go out, we had Breezango eliminated, we had the Revival eliminated, and the last two teams standing were Slater and Rhino and the B team. The two least legit teams of the whole entire field. Now, I know Slater and Rhino were SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Don't bust my nuts. They are nothing. Their run with the championships were nothing. It was based off of a fucking catchphrase that the WWE wanted to cash in on. He's got kids. Nobody gave a shit then. Well, actually, they gave a shit for about 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, nobody cared about Heath Slater's kids or Rhino's obsession with bologna sandwiches. It can all go right here because I don't give a shit. These were the last two teams, and I told you last week the B team was going to win this thing, and that is exactly what happened. Bobby Lashley Boring Trashly. Dubbed Boring Trashly here on this show first. Just throwing that out there to all my friends. Did you give a shit? I've been saying that all night because that's what I felt like while I was watching Raw. I don't give a shit. I wonder if my fans give a shit. So I want you to tell me, did you give a shit? You can hashtag it down below. I know I didn't make it the hashtag of the week, but hashtag I didn't give a shit down below if you didn't give a shit. Because I didn't. Bobby Lashley comes out, his music hits, the King of the Crickets. We dubbed him that too. Because it was no more true than tonight. Like I said, people sitting in the stands, fans on their phones. Nobody gave a shit. His music hit. Nobody in the crowd got out of their seat. Nobody made a peep. He got in the middle of the ring. He did his little arm thing. Nobody gave a shit. He went on and on and on, calling out Sami Zayn. Then Sami Zayn wants to come out, and the most unfortunate man in professional wrestling. Here's a guy whose talent is limitless. He's proven to be fantastic as a heel on the microphone. But if you wanted to illustrate how not to use Sami Zayn, you could not point to a clearer example than the following few weeks, or the past few weeks rather, of Monday Night Raw. Mostly tonight, you have him just going on and on, whining and babbling about somebody that nobody cares about. And you had one little moment right at the end of the segment that got some sort of reaction when Sami Zayn wanted to accused Bobby Lashley of not actually even being in the army, and everybody was like, oh. And even that kind of caught my ear like a second. I was like, oh, that's kind of different. Had the segment started and ended with the last, 2 minutes of that promo, maybe I'd be singing a different tune. But the fact that you got Sami Zayn pulling up Instagram posts, did we learn nothing from the last few weeks? Did they really learn nothing? Did they not see everybody just on the internet killing these segments, burying Bobby Lashley? Are they doing it to purposely troll us? Are they doing it to purposely upset us at this point? They want to say, oh, we made that segment with Bobby Lashley's sisters purposely bad. Did you do that again this week? Why are you purposely making bad TV? Why are you doing this to Sami Zayn? He deserves better than this. Why aren't we seeing Bobby Lashley wrestling? Much like I said for the Intercontinental Championship feud, if you had Sami Zayn coming out every week, beating some guy on the roster, and then talking trash about Bobby Lashley, then you have Bobby Lashley come out, beating somebody every week, and then defending himself and having promos against Sami Zayn, and you have these guys side by side, building their own momentums, leading to a clash at a pay-per-view, then people might care. But when you have them come out week after week just talking and doing ridiculous talk show segments and stupid Jerry Springer nonsense and men coming out dressed in drag pretending to be Bobby Lashley's sisters, no wrestling fan is going to give a flying fuck. Not one of us. Especially those of us who dwell in this YouTube community that many of the professionals don't care about, right? We are just a bunch of virgin fucking basement dwellers and whatever in their eyes. When we know the score, we are the pulse. We are the heartbeat of this company. But they refuse to acknowledge that. And they're using their brain more than their heart, and their brains ain't working. Even collectively. You got, 20, 25 people in a room, all supposedly with a brain. They can't come up with one fucking good segment for a 3-hour show. Absolutely ridiculous. Then you have Roman and Jinder with their back and forth bullshit that nobody gave a shit about. The 6-woman tag, which was nothing more than a way to have Baron Corbin exert his authority following the match. But this match was a complete mess by itself. You had Alexa Bliss teaming with Ember Moon and Sasha Banks, which screams out all kinds of wrong to begin with, going up against the Riot Squad. Why would they be fighting the Riot Squad? A team of 3 losers who did not qualify for Money in the Bank. Not one of them. And what good does this match serve? How is this building towards Money in the Bank? Making 3 competitors that are going to face each other in 2 weeks try to coexist as a team. How does that work? And then you have the heel Alexa Bliss leave mid-match during the commercial break. We don't get to see what happened. We just have Michael Cole's explanation. Oh, Alexa Bliss tweaked her knee, so now she left. And then you have Bayley come out at the end insert herself in Alexa's spot, accept the tag from Sasha Banks, who was left all alone in the ring after the Riot Squad had Ember Moon taken out on the outside of the ring, and then Bayley wins the match. A competitor that wasn't in the ring, wasn't scheduled to be in the match, wins the match. So my, talk show inside person, Nick Nightmare just started to go completely berserk. Because how do you do this? Why do you do this? And we come to Baron Constable Corbin, and he says everything that I'm thinking. Which means that they wrote this whole entire 6-woman tag for this 30-second sentence for Baron Corbin to say. For him to seem like a person of authority. Are you fucking serious? You could have found no better way to build towards a woman's Money in the Bank match. Only the third in history, if you want to get technical. The second official, third unofficially. By doing shit like this, I have absolutely zero interest. And then you want to embrace the subject of this on again, off again, Sasha Banks and Bayley nonsense, which is, again, just like with the wait for some of these heel turns, it's just gone on so long, and we've been waiting for it to happen for so long, that I just don't care. You haven't done it yet. You're not pulling the trigger on anything. You're not making Bayley a real babyface. You're not making Sasha the heel. You're not doing the reverse. Either way would be more interesting than what we're getting. But what we've been getting is nonsense. Especially as it pertains to the women's division. And it's an absolute disgrace. Every week we say it. All I want is a return to where we were at in 2014 and 2015. Where the women were starting to gain respect and were looked at just a little bit differently. And it started with NXT. And then it grew with the Bellas and the Revolution. And then the WWE just went right back to normal. The Revolution now is just the Divas Division 2.0. It's the Divas Division with the word woman instead of diva. And it's awful. And you see it more and more every week. Did you give a shit? No. Kurt Angle, at the behest of Officer Corbin, reverses the decision, giving the win to the Riot Squad, who, like I said, lost and are not even in the Money in the Bank, so why? And then there's this, Ember Moon wants Sasha and Bayley to hug it out. They're about to do so, and then Kurt comes in. He reverses the decision, and now Sasha's mad because they lost the match. Bayley's interference cost them the match instead of helped them win. So now Sasha's mad again. So we're going back and forth within seconds now. We're changing by the second. 30-second intervals, I guess. Your friends and then your foes, and then your friends and then your foes. Please make up your mind already. That's the money feud in the whole entire women's division, and if you haven't gone with it yet and you're not going to go with it, and we're going to keep getting Nia Jax and Natty and Nia Jax on this road to Ronda Rousey. And on the other end, we're going to get Carmella versus all these fucking people that we don't want to see Carmella going up against. She's doing the same thing over on SmackDown. She's just talking shit. She's not even wrestling. Who cares? The women's division is a mess. A big mess. Just like all of Monday Night Raw. Need a little bit of coffee to refuel. Had quite a bit of this tonight during the episode of Raw to keep from snoozing because it was that bad. The Big Show comes out to promote this year's Special Olympics in Texas. And on my couch while I was watching this with my wife, this segment was comedy gold. But I have written here in my notes, don't say anything. And I will not. That doesn't mean that I was against it. I was not. I said a little bit about it with the the Constable's appearance earlier, and I made my feelings known. We respect the Special Olympics and all that, but I do, get a little sensitive when they want to put it in the show and use their special interest things and promote things during Monday Night Raw. And I think I'd be more open to it if I was enjoying the show for the majority of the show, and then you wanted to take 5 minutes to, you know, promote this or the Connor's Cures or the, you know, the Susan G. Comans and all the other things that they do, which annoy me just as a viewer. Doesn't mean I'm against those things. I support all of those things. It's not about that. It's like after 2.5 hours of them banging my head against the wall with bullshit, I don't care. I just don't care. What makes you think I'm going to care about this segment when I didn't even really care about the main event? And there wasn't really anything that bad with the main event. It just, to me, it felt like kind of stifled. A little bit stale. Not that Balor and Owens were off, but there was just something off about the match. It just had no spark to it. Like they were just going through the motions. Sure, it was a good main event. They had a decent 20 minutes. Pulled off some good spots. But my biggest complaint would come at the end of this whole thing when they made Kevin Owens look like a complete fool. We've seen Kevin Owens do some crazy things. If you're a fan of Kevin Steen, you've seen him do some crazy things. Anybody that knows Kevin Owens and is a big fan of KO knows what he's all about. Knows what he's capable of. And knows that he wouldn't be fucking scared climbing a ladder. Now you have this guy going up high on the ladder, getting scared, and then coming down a couple of rungs on the ladder, going to make his jump onto Finn Balor, getting scared again, lowering himself again, trying to come down a little lower. At some point, it looked like he was lower than the top rope. This guy takes a frog splash off the top rope on a regular basis. He was lower than the top rope on the ladder, and he seemed to be afraid to jump off the ladder. Nobody else sees a problem with that? They just had a tremendous match. A match that kind of reminded me of what we've seen Finn Balor do with Braun Strowman. He was in there against a bigger, more powerful guy. He was doing a lot of the same things. He was getting his ass beat. He was trying to stick and move, stay away from the bigger, larger Kevin Owens. And in the end, what did we get? We got Finn Balor taking advantage of Kevin Owens being riddled in fear on a ladder, which shouldn't have happened, and then him going up to, Corey Graves said the top of the ladder, but it was not the top of the ladder, going high up onto the ladder and delivering a coup de grace to Kevin Owens, which, if you ask me, looks like he landed on his arm, and Kevin Owens might actually have a fractured or broken forearm, not ribs. I think he hurt his hand pretty bad on that impact. Delivered the coup de grace, gets the win, goes up to the top rope. I'm sorry, he doesn't get the win. He goes up to the top of the ladder and retrieves the briefcase. Now, Kevin Owens would lose this match because he would not abide by the referee's 5 count. He got so aggressive that he just kept attacking Finn Balor while he was in the corner. The ref counts it to 5 and disqualifies Kevin Owens, giving Finn Balor the win. Where have we seen this nonsense before? Week after week after week, the same endings to the same type of matches, no finality. Kevin Owens sucking up a loss, but it's supposed to be okay because of the way they booked it, and there was nothing okay. There was nothing okay. And then Raw goes off the air with Finn Balor on top of the ladder, holding the Money in the Bank briefcase like he even stands a chance. Like he even stands a goddamn chance in hell. In a match that includes Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe. It's not going to happen for Finn Balor. The WWE sees no value in Finn Balor other than attaching him to these special interest things because Finn Balor is for everyone, and that's fine. I just wish that they would care more about Finn Balor being for Finn Balor than using him as a tool to, you know, express their feelings to social media and as a face for the company in all these other ways. You won't give him a rematch for the Universal Championship, but you'll make him the face of all these special things that you want to bring attention to. But he's not good enough to win a Money in the Bank? I don't know. I don't see it happening. I don't see them having the faith in Finn Balor to do so. I'm hoping that when this Money in the Bank goes down, at the very least, he'll come out in demon makeup once again. Because if the Money in the Bank happens and Finn Balor enters and he's not dressed to the nines, in full demon gear, ready for war against 7 of the best the WWE has to offer, then we'll never see the demon again. And everything that I've ever bought from Finn Balor will mean nothing. Because everything I have is all covered in demon stuff, not in Balor Club Happy Finn stuff. Happy Finn might be your thing. It's not mine. Finn Balor needs a change. Monday Night Raw needs a change from start to finish. Tonight's show, to me, just as bad as last week, maybe even a little bit worse. Only because it's not getting better. And every time you want to take the script from last week, shake it up a little bit, and offer me something you want to call new and live, I see right through it. Next week, we are headed towards nothing that looks any better. We have the Fatal 4-Way for the men, the 4 contestants for Raw in one match. We're going to have the Fatal 4-Way we're going to have a Fatal 4-Way in the women's division, if Natty and Alexa are okay, which I fully expect them both to be. Then we're going to have a confrontation between Nia and Ronda. Oh joy! I wonder what nonsense they'll have for Lashley. Maybe he'll come out and do a dance for us. And Sami Zayn won't like that dance, and he'll have some footage from a YouTube video that he found from 15 years ago when Bobby Lashley was, I don't know, doing some football thing on his college football. I don't know. I'm trying to spitball for something. But everything that I just said is probably going to be better than what they actually do come up with next week, especially when pertaining to boring, trashly Bobby Lashley segment, because I just can't wait for it all to end. I really, really can't. I don't know what's going to help this show outside of a full overhaul and the exit of one Vincent Kennedy McMahon. It becomes clearer and clearer by the week. Man's killing his own company. Maybe he's doing it on purpose, so that when he does hang it up, Triple H won't have much to play with. But if I know anything about what that man's done in NXT, he could take Vince McMahon's dumpster fire shows and turn them into absolute gold. We'll have to wait and hope and pray that that day comes. That does not mean I wish ill on Vince McMahon. I wish he would just see the light and retire, not see the light and die and go to the other side. That's not what we're saying. I would never wish that. It's going to be a terrible day for me. I do not want that to happen. I want him to just know that his time is up. And he needs to hand over the reins, not the Roman Reigns, the reins to the company, to someone that knows what they're doing. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. This was a fun episode to do because I love when they piss me off. It brings out the best in me, and it makes me do crazy things like bring you guys the Constable Corbin. Thank you so much if you enjoyed that. Don't forget to let me know in the comment section down below. This is my trusty Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, Thor, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. And my little buddy, my most trusted companion, the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball. I am the legendary Nick Nightmare, your host extraordinaire of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, right here on Sledgehammer TV. Thank you guys all so very, very much. Do not forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you are not already a member of the Sledgehammer Club. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button like right now. Hit that like button. I'm fucking tired and raw fries my brains. By the time we get to the outro, I am just absolutely fried. I want to go to sleep. Hit that like button and don't forget to share this video with each and every one of your wrestling friends all over the wrestling world so that we can grow the Sledgehammer Army one person at a time. All it takes is you. Hit that subscribe button right now. If you are listening on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher Radio, you did not see the Constable You did not see Thor the Sledgehammer, nor have you seen Blue the Snowball, because you can only see them right here on our YouTube channel, Sledgehammer TV, the official home of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show and the Sledgehammer Club. Thank you guys once again. This has been a great show. You guys are the greatest fans in the world. I can't thank you enough. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good night.